So, just with everything that I've been going through lately, and just with struggling, just with trying to grow, with trying to heal, with being back in the situation that I thought I never was going to be in, it made me think about back before, like several years before I had my awakening and started my journey, how I used to always project and judge others. Back when I was judging and projecting, I never took accountability for my own actions. If I wasn't happy with myself, I would blame it on others and the people around me and would treat them a certain way, but would feel some type of way if they reacted to the energy that I originally gave off. I wasn't being consistent. I wasn't showing up for myself. I was giving up. Then I would be jealous and would feel some type of way about the people around me or people that I did see that was showing up for themselves and had something to show for it. Just hating, not and thinking that they didn't deserve it, not knowing the hard work that they put in, regardless of how they got what they got. That was none of my business. I shouldn't have been focusing on that, but I was mentally in a space where I wasn't happy with myself and I was taking out on everyone else around me. I would literally say things like, oh, they're just lucky, or they don't deserve this as much as I do. Like, just imagine how miserable and just the mentality that I had to even think those thoughts, especially hating on people out here making a way for themselves and winning. And I am finding things that are wrong with them and finding negative things to say about them because of my own insecurities and jealousy. I would judge others for literally everything. Whether it was my friends, if they were putting up with some BS from their boyfriend, I'm like, oh, I would never deal with that. If they were making just bad choices financially or just not so good just choices in their lifestyles, I'm constantly judging them on that. If I was in go mode, hustle mode, all extra burnt out, if people weren't on that same exact time as I was doing the same exact motions, everything that I was doing to my exact way of doing things, I was judging them for it. If there were people that I didn't even know, say I felt like they looked a mess, I'm just straight judging, talking about their appearance, instead of thinking like, yo, they have the confidence to be out here wearing whatever they want, thinking that they're just out here living their best lives and they're not caring about anything. That right there alone is something that I knew that I wasn't happy with myself. People were loud, being free. I'm just constantly judging and talking about them, not knowing that I had so much issues within myself that I wasn't facing, I wasn't healing, and that not only was I mad or judging them, I wish that I was able to be as confident, as open, and as free as they were, to just be myself instead of always constantly thinking about what somebody else is thinking about me. When it came to my relationships, if I wasn't happy, I'm constantly, and I was no longer even trying. I would sit there and just be a bitch for days on days and picking fights and blaming my partner for things that I was internally going through, not knowing that I am projecting all of my issues onto the relationship, that they are just a reflection of what I was giving out and the energy that I was just putting out to the universe in general. I just was not happy. And if I wasn't happy, I was trying to make everyone else's lives around me unhappy as well. And just saying all of this out loud, it just sounds so heavy and so sad, and just a place that I am glad that I'm no longer in. And when you think about it, how could I possibly have time for myself when I was so busy worried about the next person, what they were doing, what they had, what they didn't have, or what they were doing with their days, what they weren't doing, what they were putting up with. I'm sitting here judging all these people. Mind you, if I'm judging people for things It might not have been in those specific ways that I've done it, but I've done and dealt with so much things in my life that I could have been judged for it too. But as I said before, you don't realize when you're in it that you're just projecting everything that you're feeling, and you just don't know what to do with it. So you're just manifesting it, and you're also just making it other people's problems when it has nothing to do with them. Projection is so dangerous. When you're in that space and that mindset and being so consumed in that energy, there's just absolutely no way that you're able to take accountability in that space. And you never know at that time that everything around you is crumbling, that is crumbling around you is a cause and effect from your thoughts and your actions that you place upon yourself and your surroundings. Even when I first started my spiritual journey, I thought, okay, you're supposed to carry yourself this way. You're supposed to dress this way. This is how you're supposed to act. If you're not acting that way, they're not. They're pretending. They're not really spiritual. Basically, you're supposed to not be yourself anymore. You're supposed to be all zen and just completely change who you are. Which obviously you're supposed to make changes as in growing and healing, but none of that, it's not external. And me speaking to that person back then, it's just like, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't know anything about yourself. You're too busy consumed with everybody else and what's going on around them that you're not even working on yourself, and you're worried about all the wrong things. And you're sitting here judging the next person when you don't know anything or what anything is supposed to be, and you have the nerve to have an opinion and a judgment on someone else. It makes absolutely no sense. To be aware that for all those years, I was projecting my insecurity and my fears onto other people. It's one thing to feel sorry for the old person, for that old self, because they didn't know, but it's the attitude for me. Like, who do you think you are? It's one thing to go into things blindly, but to still have a kind heart and to still be open and receptive to change and to the knowledge and to just wisdom and everything that you're supposed to learn. But to just have that attitude and you're just not trying to learn or to be a better person, like, you can't feel sorry for no one like that. I'm sorry, you can't. But that's all I knew. So that's why it's so important to be self-aware. Paying attention to your thoughts and your actions towards yourself and towards others. To realize that it's you and to change that immediately is a powerful skill to have. To be in an argument with someone that you started with someone, and it stemmed from a place of whatever it stemmed from, but just taking accountability to know that you are wrong and stopping that argument immediately and apologizing, that's huge. But for me, before, I would know that I was wrong, but I was so deep into the argument at that point that it wasn't even about being right or wrong. I was just arguing just to argue, just because it had just gotten too far. And that's insane. That is literally insane. That is a lack of accountability. You're intentionally knowing that you're wrong and you're still continuing to argue and just be loud, and you're not even having valid arguments at this point. It doesn't even make sense at this point because you're wrong. That's pure insanity. And you're never going to grow that way. How are you growing? Knowing that you're doing wrong and knowing that you're not going to admit that you're wrong. There's no way that there's any type of growth in that situation. Now I'm noticing that I've changed and I've grown a lot, because even when I'm in situations where others are talking about or judging other people, I try to have a different perspective of it and allow them to see a different perspective of it, whether it be how somebody look or what they're saying or how they're reacting to a certain situation. I try to find the other point of view of the person, and also just stop the whole negative narrative that we're even projecting on someone that we don't even know. Stop. And we don't know these people. Let them be great. Why do we as people, if we see something, do we feel we have the right to literally verbally say something about it? Why? And that just goes to show that there's a part of you that's unhappy. If you're happy and at peace and growing and working on yourself, the last thing you're doing is worried about anyone else or what they got going on or how they look or how they're acting or any of that. None of that is even a concern. It's not. And at the end of the day, that's just on some mean girl, mean boy shit, and that's corny. Let people be who they are. Allow people to be happy. Work on yourself. You be happy. You be kind to yourself. You work on yourself. You grow. You heal from whatever traumas you're going through, because that's the only way that you'll be able to get to the next level of humanity and kindness. And those things are just not, I'm sorry, they're just not a thought. Like Fab said, focus on you, homie, get your bread up. Like, if you're focusing on you, you don't got time for nothing else. There's no time to judge. There's no time to focus. There's no time to project. There's no time for any of that. I want to leave you with this. Self-reflection is key. It allows you to hone in on what you got going on and understanding that you're giving off a certain type of energy. And it's most likely stemming and it's due to something that you're going through and has nothing else to do with the other person or anyone around you. Stay aware of your actions and your thoughts towards others, and pay attention to see if it's stemming from something much deeper, which it most likely is. Remain humble. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Show love. Give grace. Realizing also we're not going to just be walked over, but also you have to understand that everyone who is in that space of negativity and just being just straight mean, you don't know what they're going through. Is it okay for them to project it onto you? Absolutely not. But you having that understanding allows you to just have grace for others that they could be going through something, and just giving some type of kindness or just not paying them any mind at all and retaliating and allowing them to bring down your energy is so key. Until next time, it's high and loving vibes only.